All right,
Okay.
you're up first.
All right, so if you would, just state your name and your official title to the school.
Teresa Cooper, CNP Lunchroom Manager. It's Child Nutrition Program.
Okay.
I forgot.
Now, how long?
And okay, go ahead.
How long have you been with Leeds?
This is my 9th year.
19. Now, were you a CNP in another school system or?
No.
Okay, what did you do before you became a CNP?
I was a dry cleaner,
Dry cleaner.
worked at dry cleaners.
Okay.
How did you get into, I mean, what did you decide to,
Why did I? Oh,
yeah, I mean,
yeah. Dry cleaner had no retirement.
Yeah.
I was getting old. I had to have it.
okay,
Young and truth. But I like kids, so.
all right.
Now, so you're in charge of the nutrition program for the school. So on a daily basis, what does that entail with your job?
It's to make sure the ladies do what they're supposed to do. I'm not in charge of the nutrition
Okay,
program. I'm in charge of the kitchen.
okay,
Miss Carlisle is in charge of the menu.
okay.
So we have rules we have to go by. So she gives us the menu and I have to make sure everybody follows it.
Okay.
So how do you make, I mean,
We got okay, let's say, if they're making green beans, okay, they can't go throwing some good old bacon grease and, sausage grease and sausage and stuff in there.
Right.
It's got to go strictly by the menu. The recipe. Everything's got a recipe.
everything. So what happens if they get off of that and we get in trouble? And what would be the repercussions of,
We could lose our funding. That's why we have rules about the takeout food.
mm-hmm,
Because if the state comes in, we could lose our funding if, let's say, some child comes in there with McDonald's,
mm-hmm.
or something else because they're taken away from the lunchroom.
Do they announce when they're doing that? The state comes in to check?
Oh, they're coming at the end of April here.
So, but they know, I mean, you
We
know when
know.
they're coming, they don't just like show up like
We know.
surprise visit.
We know when they're coming, but we don't know which school they're going to.
Gotcha.
And kids, if they're used to bringing this in, and they don't bring it in, and we say you can't have it, they say, well, you let me do it yesterday.
Right,
They're gonna tell on us.
gotcha. Well, I understand. All right, so how does your job affect the educational process, I guess, of these kids? Like what's the value of making sure that they eat?
Well, because if they're hungry, they're not gonna perform well. And some kids, they don't eat at home. They don't have the chance to eat at home, or there's nothing to eat at home. So we're here to make sure these kids eat so they can do better.
All right, now, and I would imagine a little bit of that involves, because I know from my personal experience, I thought about eating a lot. So if you're hungry, then you probably think about it, not thinking about, actually having to do
Yeah.
your work. We serve 2 meals a day here, breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
Have we ever thought about doing where they could do the take-home meal
We
in the
thought about
afternoon?
that, but then when you do that, it would be open. So let's say, from what I understand, it would be an open thing, and then you'd have people coming from across the street
Gotcha.
to get it, and see, that's dangerous.
Right.
Let's say, that's just dangerous coming across. And we've thought about that, but then you gotta have more people to work. You gotta hire more people, you gotta make sure the kids, you gotta have more food. There's a lot to do with handling that.
What's the daily schedule look like? Like when do the ladies get here and start? And,
I come in at 6, one comes in at 6:30, the other one comes in at 7, we all leave at 2. And then we have, Paul comes in, he's a 4-hour worker to help from 11 to 2.
Now, do they require y'all to do any type of training during the summer, or what do they?
We have conferences we have to go to
Okay.
through the summer. And the managers have 2, we have 2. The regular employees, they have 1.
Okay.
now I'm assuming they have to go through a lot of the same background stuff. The people that work here, as because you're around kids, you got to go through the background check and all that kind of stuff. Are there any other stipulations as to who can work in the kitchen and who cannot?
You have to have high school education, and you got to pass the health thing, the food service. You have to have a food handler's card.
Okay.
Because if you don't pass it, you can't work.
Okay. All right.
Is there like cooking tests you have to do, or you just be able
It's
to read?
safety. It's basically safety.
Okay.
Temperature of the food, how long it has to stay that way. If it gets too low, what you have to do.
Okay.
If it stayed too low for so long, when do you have to throw it out? Things like that.
But basically, everything's laid out for you on how to cook each meal.
And you just have to follow it.
All right. That stinks.
We like to make.
When did,
we
when
like
did,
to make the grease.
yeah, and because you only been in it for 9 years though, has there been a lot of changes in the 9 years that you've,
When I came in is when they really started changing so I started at the elementary as a worker. I worked 2 years elementary, 2 years at the middle school, and then I come here. I've been here this is 5th year here.
okay.
Now, are they saying, because you hear all the time that since new president, new rules, are they looking to change anything in the lunch?
Well, this is the government you're working with, so it's gonna take a while. It's not
Right.
gonna happen
Right.
overnight. So kids say, Miss Obama's out, so we can do this. But you still work for the government.
Right.
And they're gonna do theirs. They have come off a little bit. And see, with us, we're used to salt, pepper,
Right.
home cooking. So when they started taking all that stuff away and doing spices, and you're not used to doing those spices, we've gotten classes to help us with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right.
That's it.
All right.
You're awesome.
Good.
Appreciate it.